Every few years, the major competitors in the console gaming market start boasting about their sleek new systems with specs and abilities that will revolutionize the industry. Pixel counts and post-processing effects continue to grow, and new peripherals provide players with different ways to feel immersed in the games they play. With each new generation, consoles have become powerful enough to rival and oftentimes outperform the latest desktop builds from the same price range. This time around, though, things are a little different. Sony has announced the PS4 Pro, previously known as the PS Neo, which, as the name implies, is a souped-up PS4 that is capable of running games at a stunning 4K resolution and takes advantage of HDR technology to create vibrant color and lighting. However, despite the upgraded CPU and GPU clock speeds, many gamers will see these as negligible running at lower standard resolutions, especially those who already have a PS4. But for those who want their games to run at peak performance and PSVR users, the PS4 Pro will be an enticing upgrade. Microsoft's recently released Xbox One S doesn't offer any major performance upgrades to the Xbox One, but their upcoming Project Scorpio will be getting the usual CPU and GPU boosts and has been confirmed to support 4K gaming as well as VR. Microsoft has vocalized that Scorpio will be more powerful than the PS4 Pro and will be better equipped to handle 4K. Meanwhile, Nintendo's Switch, previously known as the NX, will be greatly underpowered compared to its competitors in usual Nintendo fashion since the Wii, but will still offer a performance upgrade that will allow the Switch to render graphics similar to the quality of the PS4 and Xbox One. Of course, it wouldn't be Nintendo without their out-of-the-box approach to console design, and the Switch will live up to this reputation by introducing detachable controllers with their own screens and by returning to the use of cartridges rather than discs, which will make the console a hybrid portable gaming system. The Switch is able to support VR, but Nintendo has reported that initial tests yielded unsatisfactory results, so it's not likely that VR will be coming to the Switch anytime soon. The stage is set for the next generation of console games to be dazzling and immersive in ways not previously achieved, but the tech specs and abilities of these new machines will only take them so far. In the end, the ultimate power to change the face of gaming will lay in the hands of the game developers. With unprecedented processing capabilities and the new immersive possibilities presented by the VR platform, the games to come will only be limited by the developers' minds. So here are some of the things that we want to see from the next console generation. Innovation. This may seem like an easy task when VR is considered, but for the rest of the titles, this will be key. Recently, it has almost become a requirement that every new game should have a crafting system, upgrade paths and base building mechanics. Open worlds and sandbox environments are commonplace, which inherently comes packed with the availability of tedious side missions and pointless ventures.
He needs help. We need your help, nigga. We gonna lose everything.
These things are excellent when utilized properly, but putting these mechanics into a game simply because everybody else was doing it doesn't always produce the best results, and often makes these elements seem slapped on.
Deep breaths. What is waiting for us? What? That little tiny guy, that's it?
That's why in the next generation of games, we hope to see new, unique mechanics that will innovate, rather than the same mechanics we've seen in nearly every game for the past few years, sloppily tacked on. Although the mechanics aren't the only thing that can make a game feel fresh, storytelling and visual design are equally important. While we love zombies, medieval knights, and the war zones of the past and future, these types of stories have become repetitive and have left a void in the realm of creativity that needs to be filled by the next generation of games. Some of the most unique stories and new game mechanics have come from small indie developers over the past few years, and that is the sort of thing we want to see more of from the larger developers in the industry. Less reliance on DLC and updates. The availability of DLC and crucial updates is an excellent benefit of the modern internet-connected era of gaming. However, releasing buggy games
you're gonna get it! Whoa. Whoa.
only to patch them in a continuous update process has become too common. And rather than milking players for their money by making things like costumes, extra levels, and player upgrades, these items should be included in the initial release of the game, as they did in the pre-internet console gaming days. This doesn't mean we don't want to see DLC and patch support for the next console generation, but these things should be done with more care and utilized less frequently.
So if you have the DLC, yes, there's extra stuff for you. What most people don't realise is if you don't have the DLC, you're massively affected because there's a lot of content that's removed from the game that you can't play anymore.
It's great to see a whole new set of missions available for a game that was already a long, fulfilling experience, like Fallout or GTA, but when the original release of a game is lacking, no DLC or update can fix it. Bring back the challenge. Lately, it seems that game story campaign modes are becoming increasingly easy. Autosaves and checkpoints are placed so often that the events have little to no consequence most of the time.
It never felt urgent, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I need to survive.
Right.
Occasionally making the player track back to the point of their death to recover dropped items, or simply reviving the character right where they left off in a boss fight. Many games have even taken the challenge out of puzzle solving by highlighting and color-coding objects in the environment,
We can climb this.
or having NPC allies yell instructions,
What is this? I better approach the panel in the control room.
relegating the player to simple grunt work of pushing buttons much like Stanley in his parable. Newsflash, game developers. Gamers enjoy a challenge. There is no need to hold our hands through every difficult section you present us with. If your puzzle is impossibly difficult to figure out without explicit instruction, then perhaps it's time to rethink your approach.
How do I do it? What do I click on?
And with the upgrade paths presented in nearly every game, it's common to find the introduction of a game slightly challenging only to diminish in difficulty as the player character becomes excessively overpowered, obliterating level enemies and bosses with ease, not skill. Many of the recent bigger games have been packed with features and detailed graphics, but have become so easy to complete that the experience ends up feeling shallow and short-lived. We like pretty graphics and full-featured game worlds, but we hope the next generation of games will see a return to the difficulty of years gone by for new, challenging games that reward persistence, patience, and skill. While the next generation of consoles will provide the canvas, it's ultimately up to the game developers to create the works of digital art that will make the next generation of gaming truly groundbreaking. VR will provide new experiences and ways to play games for PS4 Pro and Scorpio owners with their new peripherals, and you can be sure Nintendo will provide some sort of new approach to game design, as they have proven to be, out of the big three, the most creative in console design and inventive game mechanics. What we don't want are used ideas presented in a shiny new package. Naturally, many games of the next gen will utilize the tropes of modern design, including all of the upgrades, crafting, and base building mechanics popularized in the past number of years, but we hope these games use them correctly and sparingly. Similarly, we hope to see game developers spending more time developing new games rather than spending so much time working on DLC. But above all, we hope to see innovation in game mechanics and storytelling presented with new, challenging experiences.